For coming. Welcome to the Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education regular meeting for March 24th, 2015. Tonight we're going to have a Secretary Pro Tem, Leanne Charlot, sit in, and if you could please take the roll, Madam Secretary.
Mark Berry.
Present.
Leanne Charlot, present. Julie Gatchall, absent. Richard Hegg.
Present.
Christine Lechinger, absent. John Rosen, absent. Susan Ryder.
Present.
So we do have 4, so we have a quorum so we can continue. And we just came out of closed session, and we're going to begin our regular meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I was hoping that some of the students in the audience might want to lead us, get us started on the pledge. I know we have some students here today. Maybe the 2 young ladies in the front row.
What?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good job. All right, we're going to move right to our first of a few public comment sections and provide the opportunity for people in the audience to offer public comment to the board on anything they would like. I'll also just ahead of time let you know that we are going to be offering a public comment at the very end if there's things you hear or want to discuss or make comment on based on what you've heard. And there's also an agenda item in the on our agenda today having to do with the traffic light in Knollwood, that if anybody is here and would like to comment on that during the process, I am probably going to offer the opportunity to comment on that as we're discussing it. So if nobody would like to stand up now, we're just going to move on to the opportunity for the board, if they want to add a future agenda item. Every week we offer the opportunity for board members to raise a topic that they think needs to be discussed either today or in the future, and we can do that now if anybody has anything. Or just continue on and to item 6, which has to do with recognition. And today we are recognizing Lake Bluff Elementary School students who attended the Students in Technology Conference.
On February 21st, we had over 70 students participate in the Students in Technology Conference, which took place at Aptekissick Junior High in Buffalo Grove, my alma mater. And I am going to introduce Lori Brown, who's the staff member who led the charge with our students who were participating in that conference.
Thank you very much. This evening we're so excited to have some of our presenters here that presented at the conference, and then we have several students who had not been to the conference before and actually went for the first time, and they also are going to share a little bit about why they wanted to go to the conference, what they liked about it. And this year we actually had 18 students actually go and present, and some of them were groups. And we ended up with 12 different presentations, and so tonight you'll just see just a brief little snippet of 2 of them. I also want to mention that we were the best, most well-represented school at the SIT conference, so I was pretty proud about that. And so we may even ask that maybe at the end of this, if it's interesting, that maybe we might consider our hosting it, because every year it's hosted by a different school. The last few years it's been in Buffalo Grove School, and prior to that it was at Adlai Stevenson High School. So I'm going to go ahead and present the girls. So first up we have Katie Pierce and Catherine Jemian, both 8th graders. And I should mention that Catherine, this is her 3rd year presenting at the SIT conference. Before you present, I should also explain, SIT stands for Students Involved in Technology, and it's by students, it's for the students, but it's by the students. And this year, even the keynote speaker was a student. So, and I know one of our groups is going to talk about that. So, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katie.
And I'm Catherine, and we're going to be presenting the Ototo. So the Ototo was developed by a man called
who refers to himself as Dentaku. So he is a dyslexic who loved to play his instrument, but because he couldn't read notes, because he was a dyslexic, he created this circuit board. Now this circuit board has programmed 50 different kinds of configurations and sounds that it can produce by simply touching it or touching anything that can conduct electricity.
Or even if you just touch it like this.
It makes sense.
It's got all kinds of them. And what we like to do is we like to take our little cords here that we have. We like to plug it into literally anything that conducts electricity. And what it can do is it makes a little noise. And anything, literally anything that conducts electricity, including water.
And then this box is very simple. I used a very, crude shipping box just to, display that the ease of making this. It's very crude. It's just a bunch of wires with aluminum foil coming through the bottom. And I just simply clip it on, and then we can touch the little squares, and it makes noise. So, I went to the conference. I've been going for actually 5 years. I've been presenting for 3 years of that. And I love going to the conference because there's really something new I learn every year I go. It's very interesting to go.
And this is my first year going to the conference, and I heard from her all the years about how great it was. And I thought I'd just check it out, and we had this technology available to us, and I'm like, let's just do this together. So we did, and it was really a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank
Girls,
you.
Thank you. I was just going to ask you, was there one session that stands out that you enjoyed going to? Anything that in particular?
Yeah.
So there was this one presentation by, I think it was 3 boys, called DARTS, and they basically took the Google spreadsheet and they were able to program it to be almost like Siri on your phone, where if you type something in it, then it responds back. I don't know. It sounded like they did it, so I don't know how they did it, but they were able.
Yeah. It's very similar to programming in Excel where you try to plug in functions, except it was on Google spreadsheets and there was a wider variety on Google spreadsheets. It's kind of amazing to see.
Thank you.
And thank you.
And next up we have Anna Pearson and Katie Hart, and they are both 5th graders. And this is their 2nd year presenting. The first year they did Scratch, which is a programming language.
This year for our presentation at Visit Conference, we made a robot out of Legos, and we showed all the kids that went to our presentation how to control it and how we made it. And we controlled it using an iPhone.
You can also control it using a computer though, and you can set up the codes yourself if you want to, and you can program it to do courses that you made. So Anna's going to show us some of the controls.
So the first one that we use is this one. It says go, and it goes forward. So if we press it, it moves forward with both legs. And that red button is the stop button. And there's another arrow right underneath the go, going down, which is backwards. And Katie's gonna show you 3 more.
Okay, so there are shoot and shoot up and attack, but we're not going to use those today because walls kind of go crazy. So I'm going to show you skate, left, and right.
Shoots.
They aren't actually, so left is turning right, and you move the left leg forward. And right is putting the right leg forward and moving right. There's also stop. Yeah. And then there's skate, which is like ice skating, and he moves two legs separately, like walking almost. And those are the controls.
Yeah, those are the main ones. And there's the microphone one, and it's really cool because you can like voice command it. So if we press and hold, go. So those are the basic and main controls.
And they actually were presenting and letting kids try and move him around in an obstacle course. It was quite amusing. Yes, it was. It was overly crowded, but they had a good time. Everyone enjoyed it. So can I ask you, Anna, what did you learn at the conference, and what was your favorite presentation?
Well, as Mrs. Brown said before, we did a coding website last year, and this year we went to different presentations that we also learned about more of them. And one of my favorites was a website called Code Combat, and it was presented by Andrew Turkelson, and I really liked it because it was it was interactive. He let us control he showed us how to code it, and then people got to code it themselves and try to complete all the levels on the website, and that was really fun. So that one was probably my favorite. And at the beginning every year, there's always a keynote speaker, and I thought this year it was really interesting because, someone was talking about how they made an app, how to stop cyberbullying, and I thought it was really amusing because, she shared stories about some of the cyberbullying and how we can make a difference to stop it. And when I was listening to her, I thought she was 17, but she was actually 14 years old.
Katie, you want to share your experiences?
Yeah. So, when we went to the conference, there was a Apple thing that we did, and we went to, and Teddy presented it, and he did all the background about Apple and who did it, and like how they started and their life before they did it, and what made him do it. And I thought that was really interesting because I didn't know how it had started, and we got to see different computers, like really old, and how they progressed into becoming really great and fast and stuff. And we also he showed us his iPhone and the new apps that like health and other things. And my favorite thing that he showed us was Siri. We'd seen it before, but I liked the questions he asked because it like showed how Apple had become really great.
Thank you, girls. Thank you. Our next presenter is Will Adloff. He's a fourth grader in Mrs. Kushenkor's class, and this is his first year going. He's going to explain a little bit about his experience. So first, Will, why did you choose to attend the SIT conference?
Because my friends told me it was really fun, and
I like building stuff, for example, like Legos and Calpa blocks.
Okay. And what were some of the sessions you attended?
I attended Better Than Best Minecraft Seeds by Luke Arvia, and that was really fun because he told us like different seeds that we could use to build new things on Minecraft.
And what was your favorite session?
My favorite session was this app on your iPad where you can choose different like markers, pens, and colors, and you can also like choose different options such as like mirror mode and other things.
And do you think you'll go again?
Yeah.
Thank you, Will. And finally, we have Paige Gibbons. She's a third grader in Mrs. Willie's class. Paige, can you tell us why you chose to attend this conference?
Because I wanted to learn more about technology, especially about coding.
Okay, and what were some of the sessions you attended?
The first one was making a maze using coding. We copy and pasted the code into a web page and then played a maze game. And we did Becoming Famous, All You Need Is an iPad. We learned to make videos using the iPad and we could post them on YouTube. One was iMovie with green screen.
And then what was your favorite session?
My favorite session was the mystery challenge. We had to make a 7-link chain that had to hold a weight. We were given a piece of paper, a paper clip, an index card, a straw, pipe cleaner, and a piece of tape. We used the paper and the pipe cleaner to create and hold the links. We used the paper clip to attach to the weight. Our chain was able to hold 4 weights. I really liked that because we had to use teamwork to complete the challenge in only 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. Will you go next year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just one comment that it is about technology, but it also includes engineering. So every year they have some sort of mystery challenge where the kids never know what they're going to get, and they usually have to build or design something. And so it uses a lot of those engineering skills, which is great. And I would just like to share with you, I have some session descriptions so you can see, it tells you what school they were from, but also kind of gives you an idea of what the different sessions for. So if we're considering it for here next year, it might help you a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all the students. You guys did a great job. We appreciate it when you come in and share with us what you're doing. For anybody who would like to stick around for the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome to. But if parents and families would like to skip out, that's no problem too.
Thank you, everyone.
You can go home and watch us on Channel 19 if you want.
Hi, Amanda. The robot especially.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
You guys did a great job.
You did.
It's so exciting. We're hoping to get it here next year.
Yeah.
It really is. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. You did a great job.
All right. Okay, we're going to move on to our report section of our agenda and start with the principal of the elementary school, Mrs. St. Clair.
And I think our two principals are going to present together this evening.
Right. Okay, so also Mr. Blackburn from the middle school. Tag team.
Good evening. We obviously know who people came to watch. It wasn't us. We had just two very short things. One thing from Lake Bluff Elementary. and one from the middle school, since we had such a great presentation by the students. I just wanted to let you know that we have a Golden Apple finalist in our school, Amanda Willie, who was actually here watching one of her students present here just a few moments ago. So I wanted to let you know that her site visit is coming up on Thursday, and Leanne Suntad is going to be on the student panel. We have a parent panel, a student panel, a panel of her colleagues, and then they'll be meeting with me in addition to observing in Amanda's classroom. So we're really excited about the opportunity to highlight her amazing talent in the classroom, and it's really just an honor to be one of the 30 who is chosen to be a finalist. She'll be attending a luncheon on April 11th to feature all of the finalists, and we'll be getting a plaque there, and then they announce the winners in early May. So just to update you on that.
Is that a State of Illinois award, or what is the?
Chicagoland area,
Oh, okay.
I believe, yes. So, but it's really a highly regarded award in the education community. So
Great.
Very prestigious.
And I just wanted to share a little bit about a group of students that we had this past weekend competing in an Odyssey of the Mind competition. We had 4 teams, and this was our first year entering an Odyssey of the Mind competition, and I have to say, boy, they hit it out of the park. They did a great job. And in fact, all 4 teams placed, and we'll be going on. We're working out the details of this. Dr. Sophie is working with Jay and I to figure out how we might be able to help offset the cost of going to the World's competition, which they qualified for, which is, again, pretty outstanding, especially given this is our first shot at it. That competition will be held in May at Michigan State University in East Lansing, and so we'll be working to coordinate that. You'll certainly be hearing more about that as we go closer to it. So, thank you.
Did you mention the teacher who?
Pardon me, I meant to do that. Thank you for asking. Mr. Jackson and also his wife, Sydney, worked together on this. He was sort of the in-building rep, and she was the person working with the different teams and also the parent volunteers that were helping to put this thing together. They drove the big, huge van with all of the equipment down and met the families, and so they put in a lot of their own time to make this work. So definitely, both Mr. and Mrs. Jackson deserve a great deal of credit for their help.
I would just add to what Nate said. This was kind of the idea of Kate Amaral. She had come to me and said she wanted to do this, and I had to hold her off a year because we had too many things going on. And having been in a neighborhood where Odyssey of the Mind was a big thing in my neighborhood, I knew that it would take on. We really rely heavily on a lot of parents' support. I also knew that our kids, as high caliber and as smart as they are, I knew that they would go to World. So we probably should have budgeted more money, but I almost felt like that would be jinxing it. So we want to thank Kate Amaral, on top of the fact Sydney grew up with Odyssey of the Mind. She was a student and was very successful in Odyssey of the Mind herself, and that's where her passion for that comes. So we're really excited for all our kids going to these great competitions and having these opportunities. I want to thank our great teachers and sponsors of all these activities, and we will continue to look forward to many more in the future. Thank
Thanks.
you, both of you.
All right, we're going to move on, and our PTO report has been canceled, correct? So tonight we'll move on to Emily McBain and an Alliance for Excellence report.
Good evening. I have a very brief report. On Alliance, the year is continuing to progress very well. We will be voting on spring grant requests at our upcoming April 21st meeting. Our teacher liaison team, headed by Shauna Herman, has been in communication with Margaret, Nate, Kelly, and the teachers of both schools. Grant requests are due into our approval system by the teachers by Tuesday, April 7th. Our fundraising efforts continue. We're just over 80% of our goal of raising $25,000 to mark 25 years. It's the exact same point where we were last year at this time. So we're hopeful, but we're also implementing some additional strategies to ensure that we reach and hopefully surpass that goal. And finally, we're in the process of recruiting new members for our board. We asked for a 3-year commitment so that there can be that progress and that investment in time and knowledge of the teachers and the schools. And there is an option to extend at the end of the 3 years. We're going to be recruiting approximately 5 new members. But it is, if you do have an interest, please reach out. Our contact information is on the website. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. So we have no report for finance and operations. We
Is that a
have
first? Thought so.
all is perfect, right? And then
Yeah.
item 7, we'll move on to the Director of Student Services, Technology and Assessment, Dr. Rubenstein, will share with the report on park testing.
We are just about done with the initial round of our park assessments, and not without some challenges and difficulties, some of which we expected, some of which were a little bit unexpected. In total of our just under 600 students who were eligible to take the exam, we had less than 1% of those students who refused to take the test, which is really quite nice. Our teachers, in our initial conversations with them, said that they felt like they were very, very prepared for some of the technology pieces and the organization and making sure that everybody was on the right track. Our students thought that it was much shorter than they had expected, which was a really good thing. And then a couple of students also sort of said, that was much easier than I was expecting it to be. Our students were sort of preparing themselves for much more of the assessment. So the second part of the assessment, the end of the year assessment, will be taken, we talked about it at our administrative team meeting today, will be taken the first Tuesday and Thursday in May. And those assessments take a shorter period of time than the performance-based assessment.
It's surprising to me, I guess, that there's 2 sessions of it and they're only separated by 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. So it's not mid-year and end of year.
Correct.
They have different functions.
As I understand it, it will make more sense to us when the full version of Park is sort of rolled out and implemented. Park as an assessment system was designed to be like a 6-part assessment with formative assessments built in that would sort of take the place of map assessments and those sorts of things along the way. And those other smaller portions are still in product development. So they are meant to be administered at like 25, 50, the summative assessment, which we just took, would be 75% of the way through the year, and then the one in May is 90% of the way through the school year. So now, that being said, we are still, I looked again today on the State Board of Education website, and there's not information about assessments for the 2015-16 school year, or any dates, which again, by this point in the last school year, we already had the dates for park assessment, and so we don't know what that means. I have been so lucky that we have an outstanding team of people here who are willing to engage in conversations about how to improve how to improve the process, because Nate and Margaret and the rest of our teams in both of the buildings have really been wonderful. And whenever a problem has needed to be solved, if we couldn't solve it amongst ourselves, then we were the first people on the phone to Pearson, who's the test vendor, or to the state of Illinois. And in a couple of different situations, we're speaking with people at the highest levels at the state assessment division. So I don't think that we were unique to some of the issues that we faced, some of the technology glitches. As a matter of fact, talking to my colleagues in other districts in the area, they experienced some of the similar issues. So we are working on sort of retooling our plan for May.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Okay, moving right along. President's report. don't have one tonight for you. Superintendent's report?
And mine is just short and goes right on Kevin's, and thanking both Kevin, who spent an inordinate amount of time on planning, and then all of our administrators and our tech teams. They all commented that next year they're gonna wear sweat clothes and gym shoes because they were all running around helping solve technology issues. But they were all very good natured, and I'd say for the most part, it was very successful here. We are problem solving as a team to kind of make notes to ourselves on what we may need to change. And so I'd say we're all very happy and ready for spring break. That's a good conclusion.
I would second that. I'm ready for spring break. All right, so now we're going to go to our discussion items. Item 8A, and back to Jean, Dr. Sophie with the board planning calendar.
I just want to make a couple comments. This week in your update, I will be sending you a draft plan for our board meetings from starting in April, May, and June, because we have a lot of things to cover. And just to kind of provide future information for the next meeting, we're going to be talking about all of our field trips, that we've made that kind of our routine in April. Talking about our field trips, when they will be, how much they will cost. We're going to be talking about a potential new food service called Kiddos that some of our districts are using on the North Shore. We'll be providing a brief introduction to Vision 2020 that you should have received a lot of literature on. We're going to be talking about summer school salaries, camp salaries, summer school fees, summer school extra help. We're going to be having possibly another presentation by our architects. We are amending our school calendar because I know we will not be having any more snow days. And most importantly, we will be beginning the conversation of finances, how much fund balance, and what money we can allocate for the middle school project. We're at a point now that the architects need to have an idea as they work on their ideas, generally how much money we're going to be spending. So you can count on discussion of finance at every meeting through the end of June at this point, because we will be revisiting that often. And then finally, one of the things that Mark had brought up that I thought was a really good idea is in April at some point we're going to be adding a tab to our website, and it will be LBMS renovation information. So any minutes, any important information for community members or neighbors to look at, will all go on that particular tab to keep everybody fully informed. So that's my report on that.
Okay. And so, any other questions for anybody? From anybody? Moving on to 8B, good segue, Lake Bluff Middle School renovations. Dr. Sophie's going to give us an update on that.
And this is going to be a very brief update. I think the key part of the renovations, which I'm hearing from everybody, is we need to start talking about money. And so the other thing we're doing is there has been even a smaller committee formed, which we're calling the Facilities Steering Committee. And that committee will be meeting with our architect every other week to provide feedback. There will be minutes taken at every one of those meetings that I will take and be posting. And I think what they're going to be doing is providing critical feedback, really representing everybody on the facility committee in general, so that we can get this thing moving. Keeping in mind that the final plans need to be done somewhere around January of next year. So we're on a move, we're building momentum. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't hear some great idea. Unfortunately, all those great ideas are floating around in my mind about 11 and 12 o'clock at night. So I think the more we get our ideas narrowed, the better feedback we're going to be able to provide to our architects so they can really start polishing some of this up.
I would add, if anybody watching this or here would like to get a bit more up to speed on where we stand on all this, if you go online on our website and watch the video of the prior meeting, the architect gave a presentation in which they presented 8 alternatives? And a lot of discussion that kind of might give you some general insight as to where this is all headed. So if you want to go back and review it, it's all on video.
What was the date of that?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
March
ago.
March 10th.
Thank you. I knew somebody would know.
All right. So I'm going to, any other questions about the middle school? Move on to action items with discussion. Our first item, 9A, has to do with the non-certified staffing plan for 2015 and 2016. In this case, we're going to be asked to approve the non-certified staffing plan for 2015-2016 discussed at our last committee of the whole. This plan indicates an increase of a 0.5 FTE to address a 0.2 increase to the Lake Bluff Middle School nurses position and a 0.3 overlap of hiring for the payroll position due to the retirement of Marilyn Rowan. Is there anything that you or Jay would like to add to that?
I'm gonna turn that over to Kevin and Jay worked on this.
Okay.
Anything you wanna add? We did discuss it at the last committee.
And there's a memo in our board packet discussing this as well, dated March 10th from Jay, Mr. Khan.
Nothing to add.
Okay, anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Okay,
So it's a net increase of 0.2 and the 0.3 is the overlap?
Yes,
Okay.
and because it's a payroll type position, the 0.3 is critical because we can't afford to have payroll not transition smoothly. So our plan is to start the new person July 1st and work with Marilyn July, August, and September. And Marilyn's retiring early October. So it accounts for those 3 months.
and for people who don't understand FTE, 0.2, 1 day, right?
1 day a week.
Point
One
two,
day is a
point
day a
two
week.
is 0.2 of a whole position.
Right, so
Yes,
it's about, it could be translated into 1 day a week.
yes.
Okay. All good? May I have a motion to approve the non-certified staffing plan for 2015-2016 as presented by the administration, which reflects a 0.2 increase to the middle school nurse position and a 0.3 increase for the overlap in hiring for the payroll position.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Write down who did the motion. All right, Mark Berry,
Yes.
Leanne Charlo, yes. Julie Gatchall, no. Richard Hay,
Yes.
Susan Ryder.
Yes.
Motion is approved. All right, moving right along. Item 9B. Resolution to for dismissal of part-time teachers. Because of the new laws, all part-time teachers who have not been grandfathered from previous years in the district will be released every year. We do this because under the new Senate Bill 7, all teachers must be replaced in a group for reduction in force purposes. All part-time teachers go into Group 1 and do not have the right to be automatically renewed, but instead are released and then rehired back upon need. This is only the second year that we have done this. It's likely that all part-time teachers that we have this year will be hired back in April based on our approved staffing plan. Jean, do you have anything you want to add?
Any other questions? This was really a change based on para and our Senate Bill 7. And it really takes away their rights for moving on and getting tenure, which provides us, and it's all law, it's not a choice that we have. So really we'll be releasing them every spring and then looking at our need to determine if we would hire them back.
Is there any way in which you could reduce the uncertainty for these folks by releasing and rehiring more close together than a month apart?
Well, we have to have it at a meeting where we do approvals. Margaret's already meeting with them or planning on meeting with them to tell them all we're planning on hiring them back.
Okay.
And that it's procedural. But next year might be different. Next year we might go down and we might not need a part-time teacher.
Understood.
So we would need to let them know about this time anyway. So
I have a procedural question. Is it okay to reference the resolution that's in the board packet, or
Yes.
do I need to read it?
I would just read this resolution and dismissal for reasons other than reduction of force. That's all you need to read.
And just for the record, we're talking about 4 individuals: Brandy Capaccio, Fred Koch, Catherine Marsan, and Sally Burden. And I apologize if I screwed up anybody's name there. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the resolution for dismissal of part-time teachers as presented by the administration and included in your board packet? This is all for reasons other than reduction in force.
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Richard Hay,
Yes.
Susan Ryder,
Yes.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
Leanne Charlo, yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Item 9C, resolution authorizing bank signatories. This resolution will authorize Mr. Khan's, Dr. Sophie and Mr. Khan, Sophie for the Lake Bluff the LBES activity fund. This now mirrors the signatures required for all the district accounts. You guys want to add to that?
Jay?
This is just the last account that we have to clean up, and then all of the bank accounts have been consolidated at one bank, and I'll have the same signatures and controls in place. So this was one that was just hanging out there with a different set of signatures on it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay. May we have a motion to approve the resolution authorizing signatures for the Lake Bluff Elementary School Activity Fund at Lake Forest Bank and Trust?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Susan Ryder,
Yes.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
Richard Haig,
Yes.
Nan Sherlow, yes.
Motion is approved. Item 9D, intergovernmental amendment agreement between Shields Township, Lake Bluff Park District, and Lake Bluff School District 65 regarding the traffic signal at Waukegan Road and Foster Avenue. Okay. Jay and I attended a meeting with people from Shields Township and the Park District, and we can give you a little update on that. Gene, why don't you give us your 2 cents on that?
Okay.
And then Jay and I'll fill you in on that.
Basically, as Jay's going through files, we found this intergovernmental agreement for the traffic signal at Waukegan and Foster, and feeling that the board could probably give us a little bit of history on this, we brought it back because the agreement had been expired, maybe 7 or 8 years? 10 years. And our costs generally, because I know that's going to be a question everybody's asked. So maintenance, what are we paying generally every year?
$1,200 a year.
Okay. So the bottom line is, he and I talked, we brought it to the board. The board really gave us the direction to find out more information. We found out a lot of information since then. And both of us feel very strongly that we need to keep the agreement, to have the light, and work with the Park District and Shields Township in doing that. We believe, I'm going to say this and you may need to correct me on this one, that the costs may go down a bit because they are going to be putting in different lighting, but I'm going to have Jay take care of that piece. Jay and Mark then actually sat in a meeting with the township and with the Park District, which they're going to share, what happened in that meeting. I apologize. I was not able to attend because of a family commitment, so I'm turning it over to you guys.
We attended the meeting, and what we discussed was that there originally was an intergovernmental agreement between the school district, the Park District, and Shields Township Highway Department. And they generally are renewed. It was a 20-year agreement, and they're renewed at the end for subsequent periods of 10 years. This agreement fell through the cracks. The state did not, because it was not with a municipality but with other types of governmental entities. They didn't think to renew it, so it went unrenewed, and they continued to send bills, and everybody just kept paying it. And so when it was discovered that this agreement was expired, I started asking some questions to try to understand if the State Department of Transportation then picked up the tab, or if it was still up to the different parties, and just basically what was involved, why it was there, and whether it was warranted. So we sat down in a meeting and discussed that there was an interest in keeping the stoplight, and that in order to do that, we would need to draft a new intergovernmental agreement. So the Park District worked with their attorney and IDOT to draft a new agreement, or an amendment to the agreement, to the original agreement, which is what you have before you. And we agreed to take it to the board for approval.
So Jay, as I understand it, and I apologize, I missed the meeting where this was discussed, but it came about just as a matter of you getting familiar with the files and understanding where we needed to update things, etc. There wasn't another moving reason that this came forward, right?
Right. I saw in a bill and was asking questions about why are we paying this bill, and dug into it and found an old agreement that had expired 10 years ago, and was under the impression that the cost should have gone away 10 years ago.
I see.
And then we learned all about private benefit stoplights, which apparently are very common in Illinois, where if the state measures traffic at a location and determines based on traffic patterns that a stoplight is not required, then they won't put it up because it's their expense. So you can ask for the state to put it up, and they will. And what happened was they were redoing the road on Waukegan, and these parties went to the state. We had a school right there at the intersection. We said, hey, we'd like a stoplight there. So they agreed to put one in as long as we agreed to maintain it. And what's not written in the agreement is that if you, at the end of this agreement, if you choose not to have the light, then we're going to take it out. Not that we're going to start paying for it. So
We learned a lot.
So the choice is to spend a lot of money to take it out and then not have a safe light there, or to continue to draft a new agreement and continue to pay for it.
I want to add my 2 cents on the meeting. So at the meeting was Ron Sosky from the Park District and Cynthia Maloney from the Township, and one of her trustees whose name slipped in my mind at the moment, and as well as the Highway Commissioner from the Township. And the Township Board and the Park District Boards have all agreed to endorse continuing to fund this stoplight. And they asked me what our board was going to do, and I said I'd let her know after tonight, because we hadn't rendered an opinion. But they're all anxious to move forward because they have a date coming up. I think it's the 24th of April that they've got to submit some kind of paperwork, because the lighting contract is going out to bid to buy new LED lights for the stoplights in the state or something like that.
Is there going to be a significant cost as a result of the changing out the lights, or are we just typically just going to continue to pay the same or smaller, maybe, maintenance and energy costs?
Currently, Shields Township Highway Department pays the electricity and we pay the maintenance. So if anything changes cost, it would be the electricity. And at this meeting, we agreed that because they were already paying it and it was already built into their budget, and it's really, the stoplight really is a highway township expense primarily, that they would continue to pay the bills that they've been paying rather than send small bills quarterly to all the different parties for the electricity, and that we would just continue to split our current maintenance costs. So the LED upgrade is $62 for each party one time, and then that we should probably see I would estimate that our maintenance costs would be about the same. It shouldn't change.
If just to frame this, it's thinking about the cost of being a good neighbor. Out of our $16 million budget, this is 0.0075%. It's barely a blip on our radar, and the goodwill I think it brings to the community is something we should consider.
Yeah, not to mention the safety. So
Well, and
this is one of the easiest decisions I've had. $1,200.
But I also, the safety is the biggest piece. And I think I was lucky enough to come upon another file in somebody else's office from 2007 when none of us were here. Although Nate, you might have been here as our senior administrator, but it was a grant that
He was a teacher.
the district had written on safe routes to school. And there was a really nice committee. They had received grant money. And I was pouring through the file and realized, wait a minute here, this is going to be an issue for all of us with Target going in. So I think we may need to revisit our safe routes to school anyway. And I think this is the beginning of the conversation. At least if we have the light up there, now we need to really map out exactly how everybody gets to school and what the impact of Target will be, so that we can really work as a community to make sure our kids get to school safely. So I think from this situation, we were able to find this other file digging.
I just want to commend Jay once again for doing that kind of due diligence, because as it turned out, there was no concern. We paid an amount that is what we ought to have been paying, and everybody agrees that we should move forward. that may not always be the case. So I think we really appreciate that you look into it as closely as you do. So thanks.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It's reassuring to me to know that we're at the point where we're looking closely at that kind of stuff. That and, you know, what we just approved with, this, you know, the sign. That's great. Great to see.
Can we move on? And
Sure. I just wanted to offer the opportunity for anybody who'd like to speak on this issue to come up to the podium and say what you need to say. And if you could just say your name and your address.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Baldwin, and I live at 706 Quasi over in Knollwood. And traffic has become a very critical problem. And if anything, we have more traffic than ever. And I've lived over in that area for a very long time. We need that light. The amount of money is minuscule. I offered to take up a collection on Thursday if you're there. But I think it's very important for us to maintain this and for kids to have a clear and designated safe route.
Yeah, I do too.
To get from the west side of Waukegan Road over to the east side. We also need help in the area of McDonald's, but that's another night. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Hi, good evening. My name's Mark Stella. I live over also on Foster Avenue, 812 Foster. And just wanted to say, yeah, the safety thing is a big thing over there. I've seen kids standing on the corner there trying to get across that street there, and it's pretty risky. I've seen them, they hit the button that's on the light. Sometimes it'll go, sometimes it won't, but at least there's that option that they can get across there. And I think if that light wasn't there, there'd be people, you know, trying to make a run for it across there. And, you know, it's something, the way people are going through there. The light acts as a buffer because though the speed limit's like 35 there, you usually see people going, you know, pushing 45 to 50 miles an hour. When that light's there, when it comes on, it's sort of an automatic buffer to slow people down. Not that they don't done it right after that, but it does at least provide that without, you know, having a police around in the area. It's sort of like an automatic cop car sitting there, so to speak. So at least for the consideration, that's one thing I've noticed on it, and hopefully they'll keep it there. So I appreciate it.
Is there a question that it doesn't work all the time when you push the button?
I've seen it. It works, but it's slow.
You get a
It's not like you may have to,
dart across,
But it does work, which is it's a good thing. It does work and like I say, it does help for trying to get people across at that point. Which I've seen a lot of people do that. So because we're right on Foster and walk up to the Marathon or walk down to McDonald's or to any of those shops.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Hello.
Hey.
I'm Susan Dennis, member of 211 London. I've been a part of the school district for almost 25 years now. When I moved here, my children were already grown, so I didn't have the benefit of the wonderful schools that you wake up. But I see a lot of our children out in our area coming over here and getting this wonderful education. I see the school buses trying desperately to get onto Waukegan Road. I live south of the tracks, so we have no light at all. And it's really a challenge for us to get onto Waukegan Road. The light helps us though, because it does stop the traffic coming in.
Yeah.
Gives me half a chance to get out onto the road. And, you know, I like what I'm hearing here tonight from the board. I appreciate it immensely, and hope everything goes through well. I want to thank you very much on behalf of our children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody? All right. May I have a motion to approve the intergovernmental amendment agreement? No, the intergovernment amendment agreement between Shields Township, Lake Bluff Park District, and Lake Bluff School District 65 in regards to the traffic signal at Waukegan Road and Foster Avenue.
So moved. Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Susan Ryder,
Yes.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
Leanne Charlotte, yes, Richard Haag,
Yes.
Motion is approved. Moving on. Policy for second read, item 9E. The board is being asked to adopt policy 7:180, preventing of and response to bullying and other aggressive behaviors as discussed and advised at the February committee of the whole meeting.
This was one we had made a correction in the first paragraph, but we had not carried through and made the correction in all the other paragraphs. Now all the corrections have been made, and we would like to get it approved for second read before they change it again and we have to bring it back.
Before, you mean the state changes?
Yes. Because it will be.
Well, I feel like I've missed my opportunity, but I have one word change.
We can do it second read.
Okay. I think it should be prevention of and response to rather than.
What page are you on?
The title.
Oh, okay.
I think it's prevention of and response to, not preventing of. That's my addition.
Got it. That we can easily change.
Okay.
That was easy. All right.
I thought it reads really well now. So thank you to people who worked on it, because I know that this has been a little tricky to word correctly. So, and I appreciated that.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve for second read and adoption policy 7:180, prevention of and response to bullying and other aggressive behaviors as presented by the administration?
so moved.
Second.
Okay, call please.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
Leanne Charlotte, yes, Richard Haag,
Yes.
Susan Ryder.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Moving right along. 9F, personnel report. Oh, I flipped the page the wrong way, that's why it's. Okay. This report includes a medical leave of absence for Jan Romito, resignations effective the last day of school for Julie Hockman, 5th grade, Kurt Kurtzel, 2nd grade, Wendy Krieger, math coach, Jody Hoke, speech and language pathologist, and Jacqueline Rote in 1st grade. Also included in the personnel report is the hiring of Michael Niles as a long-term sub for Lucy Pryor, whose resignation is effective March 27th, 2015. Any questions or comments? Anything you want to add, Jean?
No, I just wanted to make a couple comments. Kurt Kurtzall, if you read his letter, is very happy in graduate school, going for his doctorate. I think we're going to be reading good things and good articles and research from him. Wendy has decided to retire, so we'll wish her well, and I'm sure we'll see her in the community. Jody Hope's husband has been transferred, so they're moving out of state. And Jacqueline Rote, I just wanted to make a comment. Her daughter is doing much, much better. And I think with the scare of this year, has just decided she wants to spend some time at home with her daughter. So.
All good? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the personnel report for March as presented by the administration and included in your board packet?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Leanne Charlotte, yes, Richard Haag,
Yes.
Susan Ryder.
Yes.
Mark Berry.
Yes. Yes, the motion is approved. Item 9G, we're postponing until next meeting because the person who's going to inform us on all that wasn't able to attend. So skipping to 9H, approval of consent agenda. And on this month's consent agenda, we have closed session minutes from the Committee of the Whole from February 10th of 2015, Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from February 10th, 2015, closed session minutes from the regular meeting of February 17th, 2015, regular meeting minutes from 2017 to February 17th, 2015, closed session minutes from the Committee of the Whole on March 10th, 2015, Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from March 10th, 2015, the P card report, the bills payable report, and the February treasurer's report, all those items. Is there any item that anybody would like to pull off of the consent agenda for further discussion? Not hearing any, I will ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda for March 24th, 2014, as presented by the administration and including in your board packet.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Susan Ryder?
Yes.
Mark Berry?
Yes.
Diane Charlo, yes. Richard Haag?
Yes.
The motion is approved. We are now on item 10. That's all our action items. Good. We have no FOIA requests. Item 10. Last chance for public comment. We always close out our meeting with the opportunity for public comments. If anybody would like to address the board, please do so. If not,
Oh, wait, Richard does.
I'd like to thank the people that showed up tonight
oh yeah.
to do that. It's nice to see some people who are concerned about our kids. Thank you.
I also appreciated the letter regarding this subject that was submitted by the neighbors. It was very informative, so thank you to all the people who worked on that.
Yeah. All good? All right, so at 8:04, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Anybody else? All opposed? We're adjourned.
Thanks.
Thanks for
We
coming.
both have a lot of signing though, just so you know. Because you have to sign off
For Chris.